Good morning, Tracy. Today is the 22nd of April, Wednesday. Today we'll be going to do two parts to the lesson. The first part is going through yesterday's homework on activity 5.5, the right choice. Then after that, we'll take a look back at fungi, and we're gonna explore a lesson on fungi, and it includes parts of process skills like fair test, like control variables, that sort of thing. So we'll be looking at that lesson after we go through the homework for yesterday. Okay, so let's start going through the homework that we have done yesterday. So yesterday was activity 5.5, page 40 and 41. So you're supposed to figure out what material is used for certain objects and why we choose that material for that object in particular. Okay, so later on as we go through, think about the object, think about what material it is used to make the object, think about why we use certain material, and always link it back to the properties. So in science, we don't just say, for example, for spectacles, we use glass because I can see, that kind of thing. Okay, you need to link back always to the properties of the materials to show how the property of the material can help the object perform its function or carry out its use. Okay, so later on we'll be using this structure. Let me just write the structure down. Okay, the structure I'm going to follow later when I explain why I use certain material is this. Okay, so I'm always going to start off. Okay, let's use blue color. Okay, so whatever material I choose later, okay, so I'm going to put in a bracket. So whatever material I'm using later, I will start explaining, okay, by how okay, let me just okay, I always start with the property of the material. For example, if I say glass, probably one of the properties that it allows light to pass through. If I use metal, one of the properties perhaps it is strong. If I use plastic, perhaps one of the properties is it is waterproof. Okay, so I always start with the property of the material first. Okay, so I always start with I when I choose the material, I always link back to the property of the material, and then and how does it help us? How does it help? Okay, so let me just color code it so that you know what am I referring to. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so later on as I explain why I choose certain material for certain objects, always follow this structure. You choose the material, you tell me about the property of the material that is related to the object, and tell me how does it help the object per se. Okay, so later on you will see this repeated many times over when we talk about the material, we talk about the property of the material, and then how it helps the object to do its function, to do its purpose. Okay, so let's start with the first object. I know this is obviously a balloon. I don't think anyone has problems with this. Okay, this is a balloon, of course. Um, so let's start writing this down. Okay, so what material is a balloon usually made of? Balloon is usually made of rubber. That one obviously we know. Okay, so it's made of rubber. So you don't have to write a long sentence, just write rubber will be good enough. Okay, so a balloon is usually made of rubber. So why did I use rubber to make a balloon? Always link it back to the properties of the material, the structure that I said just now. So let's start to write this out. Okay, why I use a balloon, why I use rubber to make balloon. Okay, so rubber. Okay, start off the material first. Okay, so I start with the material. Rubber is flexible. We know rubber can bend and everything. Rubber is flexible, but on top of being flexible, rubber is also stretchable. Okay, so rubber has two properties: flexible, which we have learned about flexibility, but rubber on the other hand is also stretchable. Means we can stretch the rubber. Means we can stretch the rubber. Okay, if you have a rubber band, you can stretch it. Okay, so rubber is flexible and stretchable, and this is the property. I'm gonna put it in black color. Okay, so first you talk about the material, you talk about the property of the material, and then how does it help. Okay, so the rubber is flexible and stretchable. That's the property. So it it can expand when I blow into it, because you want to blow the balloon, you want it to expand. Right, because if the rubber is not flexible, if the rubber is not stretchable, it cannot expand when you blow air into it. Right, so you realize that this answer has two parts to it. First, I talk about the property of rubber, then I talk about how it helps. So every explanation you have to follow this structure. Tell me about the material, tell me the property, tell me how it helps. Okay, so you always start with the property, link it to how it helps. All right, so let's go to the next one. Okay, I know this is a pair of glasses, a spectacle. So what happens is that, let's talk about the different parts of the spectacle that has different materials used to make it. So I know I have my glasses over here, my lenses. I know my lenses is here, and lenses is made of maybe glass or plastic. Later we'll write that down. I mean, some of you have glass as the lens, some of you have plastic as the lenses. So these two parts is your glass or plastic, and then of course for the frame part, it might be plastic for most of you, or some of you it might be metal. So let's write this down. Okay, so if you talk about the lenses, the lenses can be made from glass or plastic, and then for the frame, it's either made from plastic or metal. All right, so this is the part. So some objects like balloon is made of only one material, but things like your spectacles is made of two materials or even more. All right, so let's start. So again, why are they suitable? So let's just focus on two. Let's talk about glass, and then let's talk about metal. All right, so why is glass used for the lenses? Again, let's try to write it out in a way that I taught you how to write the structure given. So I choose the material that is glass. What's the property of glass? Glass allows light to pass through. Okay, let's write everything down before we color code it. Okay, so what happens? So what if it allows light to pass through so I can see through? Okay, so you realize that I choose the material. What's the property? Property is that it allows light to pass through. So you tell me about property first, and then you tell me how this property can help you perform the function so you can see through it. Okay, so there's always two parts. Tell me about the property, and then tell me about the how it helps me to do what I need to do. Okay, but this is only for the lenses. Let's also do one for the frame. Let's choose metal. So what about metal? Why do I choose metal for the frame? Because metal is strong. It doesn't break easily. Okay, so metal is strong. This is the property of metal. So it doesn't break easily. So once again, you will see there are two parts to this answer. You tell me about the property of the material. For this case, it is strong for metal. And then after that, you tell me how does it help. Okay, so strong, so what? Strong, so it doesn't break easily. So when you drop it on the floor, it doesn't break easily. When someone hit you with a ball, it doesn't break easily. Okay, so for every material you use, tell me about the property. Tell me how does the property help. Okay, so for example, if I talk about letting light through, tell me that you can see through it. Talk about strong, means it doesn't break easily. So you must tell me um the property of the material plus how it helps. Okay, so let's go on to the next page. Okay, so I have a file over here. There are two parts to it. Okay, the cover and the clips inside. So let's write down the answer. I have my clips inside. Let's talk about the clips inside. The clips inside is made of metal. Okay, however, the cover itself is made of plastic. Okay, so if you're talking about the clips inside, it's made of metal. Talk about the cover inside is made of plastic. So for this question, I just want to focus on plastic. So why did I choose plastic? Okay, so think about a file. A file is to do what? File is to put paper, documents inside, or your worksheets. All worksheets are made of paper. So why do I need to cover the documents with a file? Okay, is I don't want the worksheet to get lost. Of course, that's why I use the clips. I also don't want my paper to get wet. When I bring home, if it rains, I don't want most of it to get wet. Okay, so what happens that I use plastic. So this is the material I use. Why do I choose plastic and not fabric and not something else? Because plastic is waterproof. So this is the property of plastic that I use. Okay, I don't use it because it's strong or anything. I use it because it's waterproof. Okay, so plastic waterproof, so it protects the documents from getting wet. The documents in the file from getting wet. Okay, so once again, this is the material I use, plastic. What's the property? It is waterproof. And how does it help being waterproof? Because it protects the documents from getting wet. Okay, so some of you don't have this structure when you answer the question, so I need you to start writing with this structure. What's the material? What is the property? And how does the property help to do the function of the object? The file is to keep the documents properly, in tidily and away from water. So the cover must be waterproof so that the documents inside won't get wet. So prevent it from getting wet. Okay. So for the next two, also quite common sense also. We use paper or plastic bag to carry wet grocery. This is the keyword. If it's wet, we use paper or plastic bag. I think the answer is very straightforward. I use uh, plastic bag. Okay, I will use plastic bag. Okay, but the question is, why do you use plastic bag? Okay, well, of course, most of us would naturally know that for wet things, I use a plastic bag instead of a paper bag. But why? So always link back to the property. Okay, plastic does not absorb water. But paper absorbs water. So, okay, we know that plastic don't absorb water, but paper absorbs water. So this is the part where we talk about the property. So what if paper absorbs water? So what? Okay, so because when paper absorbs water, what happens to the paper? It will tear easily. Okay, all your papers, if it's wet, you realize that it tears very easily. Okay, so and this is the effect if it is wet, if the paper is wet. Right, so let's go through this again. If I want to carry something that's wet, I use a plastic bag. Why? Because I know plastic don't absorb water, paper absorbs water. So when paper absorbs water, it will tear easily, and then it cannot hold the groceries in the bag anymore. So that's why I use plastic bag. Alright, so next one, if I have a water bottle, will I use a glass or plastic? Sometimes you say teacher got glass water bottle, so yes there is, but which one would you prefer? Which one would be better for you? Which one is safer? Which one would be better for you to use? So the answer is plastic bottle. So plastic bottle is better, plastic water bottle. But why? Okay, because plastic is stronger than glass. Glass breaks easily. If you drop on the floor, you know that glass will definitely break. Plastic won't break that easily. So plastic is stronger than glass. So this is the property. Later we'll do the highlighting. And then okay, so plastic is stronger than glass. So glass breaks easily compared to plastic. Okay, so basically these two tells me about the property. Okay, so I'll just put it as black. Okay, so once again, if I have a water bottle, will I choose a glass or a plastic? I will choose a plastic bottle because plastic is stronger than glass. Glass breaks easily, but plastic don't break easily. And that's why when you're young, your parents always give you a plastic cup instead of a ceramic cup or a glass cup, because you will tend to drop it, you will tend to break it, and then it's not safe for you. That's why I use plastic bottle. So some of you yesterday, you tell me that the last question is a bit difficult. So after going through this whole exercise, tell me why is it important to choose the correct material for an object. For example, if I want to make a raincoat, do I use cloth? For example, if I want to make a window, do I use metal? For example, if I want to make the tires of a wheel, do I use like plastic or wood in that sense? Okay, so I have to use the correct material for an object. Okay, because I need to match the properties of the object to the function of the I need to match the properties of the material to the functions of the object. So basically the answer is the properties of the materials chosen must match the users of the object. Okay, so I'm going to color code it. So the properties of the material and the users or the function of the object. Okay, and this is the structure we used just now. We always talk about the property and how it leads to the use of the object. We talk about it being allowing light to pass through. So what is the function? To allow you to see through it. Okay, we talk about not absorbing water because I don't want it to tear easily, that sort of thing. Alright, so you always have to choose the right materials to make the object, because the materials that you use, the properties must match the function of the object. I want to make a raincoat, I cannot use fabric because it absorbs water, then I'll be wet inside as well. No point. Okay, so the properties, you must always link it to the users of the object. Okay, so after this, the next part we'll be looking deeper into fungi, into process skills, and then your homework today is actually exercise 5, page 45 and 46. Okay, see you tomorrow.